recruiting?
Back in the early 1900s, and all of their farm implements and all their tools were all made right here. So all I'm doing is running this fan. The fan blows the air down, the oxygen makes the coals. These are all coals that are mined, and it's just keeping it nice and hot. Well, we're taking a horseshoe right today and straightening the horseshoe out, flattening it, and we're trying to make a knife out of it. So, got too much there, huh? See how easy that works?
That's cool.
Got the lesson kind of outlined.
And I'm working on table runners right now, and I'm getting ready to advance my cloth, which means I've come to as close to this beater bar as I can weave. So then I have to put forth the thread just a little bit. Sorry. And the placemats or table runners I'm just making out of reused material that I've cut into strips, and then I have sewn it back together into one big long string to make it continuous. And I've got some loose warp threads right here, so I'm just using this to tighten them up with. This is called my beater bar, and what it does is it just packs down the material. And I'm using my treadles to raise alternating shafts in it, and by choosing which shafts I raise, I can come up with a surface pattern from the thread also, as well as the material that I'm weaving within it. Strings you see here are called my warp, and what I'm using to weave with is called the weft. And you can weave with just about any kind of material. What I'm using to put the weft through there with is called a ski shuttle because of its shape. And there's lots of different types of shuttles depending on what purpose you want to use them for, what kind of material they're going to carry. since I'm about to the end of it, I'm just going to use my hand to put it back together. And this is another type of ski show, and what I'm going to do now is just use this cotton thread to finish it off. And then I'll eventually tie it into knots on the end or have a fringe. Once I finish all my projects, what I'll do is I'll weave until I weave up all this warp thread that's back there on that back beam, and then I'll just keep on putting my projects onto this cloth beam here in the front. And by doing that, you don't waste a lot of your weft thread. You just weave until you weave it all up. Yeah, I'm doing Christmas ones.
So it's all it's $2 a piece.
It's $2 a piece.
Okay.
Steal some ones here.
Grab your mount.
Have you got any ones over here?
I just got her checked. I don't have any.
Oh, look, here's the feathers for the scavenger hunt feathers.
You're gonna have to.
Grab 3. So Summer can have one. Hey there, feathers for scavenger hunt feathers.
Yeah, I wondered what they put them there for.
Scavenger hunt.
She said, "Can I
find one more?"
Oh, I
That way
bet you
you'll
can. I bet you can.
She's out there more.
She's my baby. She's like my little dog.
And of course, Heather gives them this. I used to go out and do my business. Heather goes out there and does Okay, this is PJ. She is a cross between a Dorset and a Southdown. She had a Dorset mother and a Southdown Ram father. And she's a few years old. She's one of our good little girls. She's in our flock for breeding. And we use her for mostly wool, but we have babies out of her that we'll use for meat. So she always stays on our farm. Sheep are really attached to their shepherd. So whoever deals with them the most, they usually follow. So the old story about, a shepherd tending their flock is true. They will stick with whoever they associate with, and usually get very attached to them. Other than that, they usually just eat mostly hay, and we feed them a little bit of oats when they're pregnant to give them extra protein for the babies. And this year they did not get shorn, so she's got an extra thick coat of wool. Very dense in here. I don't know if you can get a close-up of it. Oh, come here. Of how thick it gets down in there. And all the yellow you see down in there is lanolin, which is used in hand moisturizers. How you doing?
Pretty good, sir.
Okay, get on. See these balls? We already done these. Now you're trying. Oh, we got to try this. And we got to try. Have you got the wool yet? No. We got to
Cover your mouth. Oh, how cute. I love this old house. I live in it. I love it. Over here, what? Oops, I'm sorry.
You need a bullet and you need a quilt square.
And what? And
Oh, look, I see it now. Found it. Look,
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, twice once. This has got dandelion.
I'll get one.
Buzz, buzz.
Oh, okay. 324.
Yeah.
Buzz, buzz, 324. Okay.
Buzz, buzz. 6324.
No.
6324 at yahoo.com.
Okay, 63.
Yeah.
So I can see.
24.
Okay.
Yeah, that is.
She took it up to her house so that he wouldn't try to sell it again. But that guitar went with him all over. He took it to Europe when he was during World War II. you know, and he played music up in Kentucky and all over this part of Tennessee, and it had a lot of miles on it. And we always, we never could touch it when we were kids. You know, we'd have to try to coax him to bring it out and play it. You know, we'd sing these classics, Kylie, like "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?" And this was my part of the song.
You still remember your part.
And Freight Train, you know, all these old folk kind of songs. And we would sing. He loved harmony, and we would sing. And he played guitar. And Mom, he let Mom play it every once in a while. But the rest of us could not touch it until we had to buy it back. So yes.
Oh boy.
Does she have his picture up in here somewhere?
That's there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Bedford Davis and Playmates.
It's Playmates.
Yeah, that was back before Playmates meant something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a couple of his music buddies that told me. I don't know, did you ever know the Kyrie during the no other way? He's the one in the red shirt.
You have found one?
He lived over there.
I know 5 feet.
Dillard and Brenda and all them know that neighborhood.
You know, they film comes off, I think they're playing in the book, which I don't care about that, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, and you can't tell what it is and all that and all that sort of stuff. But all I got to say and I may get like you too. Wasn't then. And I got that thing now, I'm going to see if I can learn to play it for you. I can find that.
And he's had the same office and worked pretty much for the same company, but the company has changed names and been sold or something.
Yeah, every 5 years they sell to lose the tax write-off, yeah. Then they have to wait 5 or 10 years and then do it again. That's where you
I don't know, I guess there must be some kind of financial advantage to that. It's kind of nice to say.
We'll go put some corn shucks back here so people can see what they are. We're making corn shuck dolls out of the shucks of the corn. The old-fashioned doll. And Winwood. Feel the warm breeze.
Yes, sir. Feels just right.
One thing about Tennessee, you stay here long enough.
And then just constantly, pull back. Sometimes go through like that.
Developed by the shakers. And so when I begin a broom, I put the stick in and I use a total of 1 pound of corn. The first step is to use a half pound I place that on, trim it, put another 1/4 pound on, and then finally it's topped with color. After it comes out of the kick winder, it needs to sit for a day and dry. And then from this stage, this wild, crazy stage, it goes over to the vise where it is flattened. I use 2 rows of banding, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm using my finger as a guide to space my stitches. Sawing back and forth is just so I can tighten it. I want my stitches to be nice and tight. I have band-aids on my fingers. It's not because I have cuts. It's just to prevent the string from cutting them. So I've already lost one band-aid today, but I try to keep band-aids on. My copper pin here is just to hold this band of string up until I get at least halfway through. Then I can remove it. A lot of the tools that a broom maker uses are from other industries. The needle that I'm using is a sailor's needle, a sail needle. It's what they stitch their sails with. Today, the nursery industry is using it to stitch burlap when they wrap it around the roots. And of course, the vise that I'm using today is a broom vise. It's not used for any other industry that I'm aware of. Broom cord does come in colors. It comes in red and black, and there are samples on the kick winder of that. But the colors are not vibrant, and they do not last or hold in the sunlight. So I mix my dyes and boil the broom corn in my dye bath so that it holds the colors and they're more vibrant. I'm just setting the stitches now. And getting ready for my next row. Set my copper pin. The thimble that I have on my hand is called a palm thimble. They used to have a coin set in leather, but nowadays they have another type of metal.
Stupid thing, get off of it. I see one of them already done.
We were grinding corn into cornmeal and grits with a 1917 Williams grist mill and a 1968 Lister diesel engine. Pretty straightforward process. They've been doing that for 1,000 years. We just use mechanized equipment like they did 100 years ago. What about it, Thad? You want throttle? Advance the throttle. Two-man job to fire it.
There'll be a chair here.
Oh, you want it? You want it? Send me a sound.
Both of them were hot. Does that look like it's going like it ought to? That's my
He would have been part of the party.